Okay, may I welcome you all with the universal greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. As is customary, we begin today's program with a short prayer, which will be led by Qari Hafiz Ahmed Lokhat. He will recite a few verses of the Holy Quran, after which he will make supplication to invoke the mercy and blessings of the Almighty for the Palestinian people and humanity, all of humanity who are in difficulty. Hafiz Sahab.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Normally I start with the tilawa or qira'ah, but I just felt this time, I just give a brief, so the ayat that I recite, inshallah, will become more meaningful. I'm going to recite the last 4 verses from Surah An-Nahl, which is a chapter on the bee, and the 14th para. Strangely enough, all the ayats are Meccan, revealed in Makkah, except these last 4 ayats of the chapter the bee. In these 4 ayats, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. Invite people to your Lord, mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through wisdom and good discussion. And if you're asked to engage with them, debate with them, do it in a manner most suitable and good. Because Allah ends this ayah by saying, without doubt, Allah knows those that are misguided and those that are guided. In this next verse, Allah says, وَإِنْ أَعْقَبْتُمْ فَأَعْقِبُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا عُوقِبْتُمْ بِهِ. And if you have to punish your enemies, then punish them in like manner that they have been trying to fight against you. But Allah ends this ayah off by saying that you must have certain amount of patience. But this ayah was revealed during the time of Battle of Uhud, when we know many of Muslims were made shaheed, martyred, amongst which were Hazrat Hamza radiallahu ta'ala. And like what we see today in Palestine, in front of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba, quite a few of those that had passed, the made shaheed, they were mutilating their bodies, cutting off their noses and ears. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahabas, don't go to that extreme. Because Allah says in another ayah, and prepare whatever you can of power and steeds of war against Allah's enemies and yours, those that you know and those that you don't know. And spend from your health, your wealth, and your lives for the pleasure of Allah, so you are not oppressed or wrong. Because the next few ayahs that I will recite, Allah says, وَاصْبِرْ وَمَا صَبْرُكَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. And have patience, because no patience except from Allah. وَلَا تَحْزَنْ عَلَيْهِمْ. And do not be sad and distressed over what they plan and plot. So Allah ends the surah by saying, without doubt, Allah is with those who are Allah conscious and are good. And I will end up, because the next surah, the first ayah, talks about Masjid al-Aqsa, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala glorifies Himself, and He says, Subhanallazi asra bi'abdi layla min al-masjid al-haram ila Masjid al-Aqsa, where Allah ordained that He took His servant Prophet ﷺ from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa. But Allah makes special reference over here, Barakna hawla, that Allah bless the surroundings, the neighborhood of Masjid al-Aqsa. And we all know that Masjid al-Aqsa is a big compound, not just a masjid alone, where the dome of the rock. So Allah is saying, beyond the masjid compound, Allah has blessed. And Allah said, لِنُرِيهُ مِنْ آيَاتِنَا, to show the Prophet ﷺ what Allah has blessed that place with. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will conclude with the Qur'an and the dua, that Allah bless Muslims and grant victory to all those that are being oppressed against the oppressors. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ادع إلى سبيل ربك ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن إن ربك هو أعلم بمن ضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين وإن عاقبتم فعاقبوا بمثل ما عوقبتم به ولئن صبرتم لهو خير للصابرين واصبر وما صبرك إلا بالله ولا تحزن عليهم ولا تك في ضيق مما يمكرون إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير صدق الله العظيم. I'll ask everyone to read Surah Al-Ikhlas and Surah Al-Fatiha for all the marhums and all those that have passed on in Gaza and Palestine. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala barakah of these surahs that to bring peace and tranquility to all parts of the world. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم يا رب العالمين لك الحمد والشكر على كرمك وفضلك ونعمك علينا يا رب العالمين. قد جمعتنا هنا في هذه الليلة في هذه الحفلة للمنارة يا رب العالمين. اللهم بارك لنا جميعا واغفر لنا خطايانا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم اجعلنا من الفائزين في الدين والدنيا والآخرة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير يا فتاح، واغفر لنا خطايانا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أنزل السكينة والسلامة على العالم كله وخاصة على المسلمين أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم بفضل سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله.
Jazakallah, Hafizab. Always nice to hear your melodious voice. Hafizab and I have been, I think we started school together. I don't want to tell them which year because giving our age away. Yeah? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, a few house rules we just need to note. And I'll start with one, which is the notice, or you will notice that there's a program in front of, on your table. Our focus today will be to lend our ears to our keynote speaker and then join in the celebration of the awards function. Those are the two main issues that we have, business for today, that is. The chow, yeah, of course, yeah. All finalists, please note, all finalists, that is winners and runners-up, to please come to the stage area after dinner, because we need to take some photographs which will be used in the media. So I'd really like every one of you to come with your prizes at the end of the function. Assumptions dinner is laid out for you on buffet style. There's two serving points, one on my left, one on my right, and there's one that's outside. So those of you who don't want to feel congested, there's one outside. At the same time, I must just mention that there's a Salah facilities one floor up for Isha. So please, when it's when we break for dinner, I'd like you to actually read your Salah at that time, rather than causing confusion and disruption. So Salah is available after dinner, and dinner is 3 points that we have, okay? Also some beautiful prizes and lucky draw basis after dinner. So you have to be present in order to claim the prize. There's a brochure on your table. It's a MINARA 2023 brochure. Refer to that as and when necessary. A fresh copy will be given to you as you leave the function tonight. Okay. Idris, thank you. Now that the stage is set and all of us are on the same page, let the show begin. The MINARA Chamber of Commerce takes great pleasure in welcoming you all to this evening's awards dinner. Our guest of honor, keynote speaker, Professor Salim Abdul Karim, President and Director of the Board of MINARA Chamber, Mr. Imran Noorbai, Standard Bank, KZN Region Head, Mr. Shabir Chauhan, CEO, Al Baraka Bank. I'm very pleased to see the Pakistan High Commissioner, Mr. Altaf Hassan Khan. I know that he's been flying around the country, and he decided to make a pit stop in Durban just to attend our function. Very warm welcome. Another distinguished guest that we have is Mr. Yunus Suleiman. Very pleased to have you here, ex-chairman of KPMG, present chairman of Goldfields Limited, one of the biggest gold mining companies in the world. All finalists for the evenings, welcome, 2023. Captains of industries and institutions, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my privilege and pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to each and every one of you to today's Gala Evening Awards 2023. We go on to the next item, which is the President's address. If I can ask Solly Suleiman to come over and do his address, after which he will introduce the keynote speaker. Solly Suleiman, suffice to say that he holds several executive positions in social, welfare, and business worlds. Solly, pleased to have you.
Professor Salim Karim, our guest of honor, High Commissioner of Pakistan, His Excellency Aftab Hussain Khan, Imran Noorbai, CEO, Standard Bank, and of course, I'm wearing his colors today, just hopefully he can give us a sponsorship next year as well. Representative of the AMCA Group, our MINARA directors, Fawzia Pir, who's the ANC NEC member and the MINARA Vice President, our finalists, members, guests, Assalamu alaikum, good evening, San Bonani. It is once again my privilege and pleasure to address you this evening at our annual awards dinner, and I'm really glad to see such a phenomenal turnout. Unfortunately, we couldn't sell any more tables because the venue was restricted to 40 tables and just maximum of 400 people. So to those people that couldn't be here, we just apologize and you watch it on Hilaal TV. It is not the best of times, unfortunately, with the genocide and disaster that is happening in Gaza and the West Bank, and which has been allowed to happen over the last 70 some odd years. I take this opportunity, and I think Fawzia can take our message back to the President, to commend our President, Cyril Ramaphosa, as well as our Minister Naledi Pandor, and leadership in government, who have been vociferous in standing up against atrocities, and we relate to the people of Palestine who are subjected to the worst form of apartheid than what we had to endure. It's absolutely horrendous that what's happening in Palestine and Gaza, and unfortunately the whole world who are sanctimonious and believe they're leaders of the Western nations, and they just stand back and watch. MINARA hosted a dinner a while back for over 1,000 people on behalf of Channel Islam International and Dr. Mads Gilbert. I don't know if you remember that, where we raised millions of rands for ambulance in Gaza, and that's exactly the type of thing that happened then, is happening now, and probably worse. Unfortunately, at such time that there's just solution to the Palestinian problem, the oppressed will react to their dispossession of land, inhumane treatment, harassment, imprisonment without trial, constant invasion of their territory, blockades, etc., in whatever means possible to highlight their plight to the international community. The problem is that we as a community are really reactive and not proactive, and this is something we blame ourselves for. When there is injustice and when there is all these type of tragedies, we basically spend millions of rands in relief effort, and we will be upset for a while. And of course, we go back to our normal lives. The MINARA Chamber was formed over 2 decades ago as the only Muslim chamber in this country. It's different from other chambers since it doesn't just look after the interests of its members, and I think this is important. It doesn't just look after the interests of its members, but highlights the importance of uplifting the disadvantaged members of our community, irrespective of race or religion. As much as it's a Muslim chamber, we don't really discriminate when we really help and support the disadvantaged communities. It's not just the responsibility of Solly Suleiman or any of its directors to make a difference. And this is something I want to emphasize today. It is incumbent on every one of you to support the chamber, participate in its activities, provide input, as well as mentorship to other members, and ensure that the voice of Muslim business and professionals is heard. So it's not just our problem as directors, or it's not just our responsibility, it's the responsibility of every one of ourselves. We have created the vehicle, and we invite all businesses that believe in the Islamic way of doing business to join and interact with each other. South Africa needs this. The community needs this. Over the past 2 decades, we have built up relationship with foreign embassies, chambers nationally and internationally with government departments at all levels, with political leadership, with various organizations, including the Islamic Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Agriculture. It's an international body which represents a large number of Muslim businesses in various countries, especially the OIC countries. And of course, the membership fee there, I must thank Al Baraka Bank. I don't know, Mohammed Kaka has paid the fees, but Al Baraka Bank has sponsored the membership fee to the ICCIA. We host ambassadors, high commissioners, trade commissioners, incoming trade delegations, as well as participate in outgoing trade delegations and international trade exhibitions. During COVID, MINARA played an important role in facilitating support and advice to businesses who needed to benefit from TERS and other grants. Hundreds of small businessmen and women benefited from legal business advice as well as guidance. MINARA supported small business during the looting through an initiative called REHOP with partners such as the South African Muslim Charitable Trust, Muslims for Humanity, Willerton Group, as well as Al Baraka Bank. Together with SAMCT, MINARA funds SMMEs who show potential and need funding to grow or sustain their business, and we're hoping it's sooner than later we'd set up a skills development center. We have various committees, including international trade, SMMEs, young entrepreneurs, membership, marketing, and we have the following directors who are present here today. Fozia Pir, who's the Vice President and former Deputy Mayor of eThekwini. Razak Juma, our MC for the evening, is the Secretary General. Dawood Lockhart is in Finance. Ibrahim Patel, International Trade. Aslam Ismail is the Political Chair. Askar is the Chair of Gauteng as well as International Relationships. Isa Hassim is Young Entrepreneurship. And Zain Mita, SMMEs. And of course, Nazreen is our Marketing Social Media Fundi. And of course, she's the one that ensured that we have a new redesign of the logo as well as the website. Professor Halima Kunote is now joined us on the board, leading academic and government official, heads the Office of Standards Compliance, and is involved in capacity building in the national and provincial cabinet, and we're hoping that she translates this to empowering the directors as well as our members. We have many plans for 2024, including leveraging the connectivity with the ICCI and all embassies, as well as partnerships with SAMCT in creating a skills development hub. As a community, we need to support the MINARA Chamber financially and otherwise, rather than sit on the sidelines and claim ignorance of a chamber that is in existence for decades and has had awardees that are leaders in their fields nationally and internationally. And many of our awards functions have been broadcast live, like this evening, and tonight's evening has been broadcast by Hilaal TV. John F. Kennedy said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." It's therefore disappointing that some of the community members will request favors. We need a visa intervention, we need to intervene with government departments, we need to cut red tape, we need advice. When the job is done, membership fees are then not paid despite numerous requests. Now, it's not really fair to the chamber. It costs to run this chamber, and it's really an unfair process. All Muslim businesses should really set aside funds and even set up special projects within the chamber to empower our unemployed as well as women and children. And I think this is the future that we need to focus on. It is really sad when we are told that MINARA is of no value, and there's also an expectation that if there's a sponsorship, there will be an enormous spin-off. Sponsorships, more often than not, is really a branding exercise. And we have provided the platform, and the sponsor can use the opportunity to grow his or her business with guests that attend events like this. And you can see the type of attendance. Of course, I must commend Imran, Noorbai, and Hamid Noor Mohammed from Standard Bank, who have always supported our awards functions, and really they need a round of applause. You know why we're doing that. If you do what we currently do and expect magic to happen and save our people in Palestine and elsewhere in the world, then unfortunately our children and grandchildren will face the same trauma vis-a-vis Gaza or state capture in South Africa or corruption within South Africa. So the reality is, if we're just going to carry on doing things that we need to do for ourselves and not bother to uplift our communities, then we're all in trouble. MINARA is represented on various platforms. For example, the KBCC, that's the KwaZulu Business Chamber, which represents all KwaZulu-Natal chambers. We're also part of the KwaZulu Growth Coalition, KwaZulu Economic Advisory Council, at the eThekwini War Room. We've been on this war room for a while now, but there's no war happening, unfortunately. See, since Fozia has left the council, the war room is without any guns. And of course, we're also in the eThekwini Economic Advisory Council. On the 20th of October, and I think there's a representation here from Salga, I was requested to address the South African Local Government Association breakfast meeting, and Salga represents 61 municipalities in KZN. The Salga leadership has a strategic plan to partner businesses in order to improve the economic conditions of the municipalities and create an environment for growth. Of course, I've got a bit of a big mouth, so I was quite critical of our current status in KwaZulu-Natal and elsewhere in South Africa, with a focus on race rather than competence, and as well as an obsession with BEE at a higher level, rather than BEE where is needed the most. The reality is, it's not working. Everything that we're doing is not working. All these policies and legislation that we have that is imposed on the private sector is not working. The reality is that the money, and that's something I've emphasized to them as well, I made it clear that nothing will change unless change occurs in the way we conduct business in our public sector. The reality is that money government receives is our money. And I emphasized to them that there's a term called amanat. Of course, people don't like that word. But there's a term. And I said, we give you what's our value. You're meant to use it responsibly. It's not your money. It's not Treasury's money. It's not government's money. It's our money that we give you to use, and use it to uplift the community. You need to deliver to the community. I mentioned that also politicians and civil servants must have empathy and care for the people on the ground. If not, they should not be in those positions. There are many initiatives of this nature which is not just to benefit our members, but also this is MINARA. There are many initiatives of this nature which is not just to benefit our members, but also the disadvantaged members of the community. After all, that's what we are about. We try to inculcate a we culture rather than a me culture. The MINARA Awards function is the highlight of our year, where we recognize leading businessmen, women, businesses, professional achievers, community builders, many of whom do not need the accolade, but we believe that they have to be recognized in order for the younger generation to emulate them. All the entrants are winners, but the independent judges had to decide, and the emphasis that independent judges had to decide. Firstly, the finalists and then the winners. I must admit, I will be hearing the names of the winners for the first time when it's announced. So we had no say in who was chosen. So Ahmed Al-Qadi, if you don't win, don't blame me. I hope that my address is giving those that are present here today and our viewers some food for thought. I must say, as a national executive member of the Islamic Medical Association of South Africa, we have the same problem with recruiting members. And the question that is asked is, what is in it for me, rather than let me join and make a difference to my community and to humanity. Well, I have a dream, and of course I've stolen that from someone. I have a dream that there will be a time that the business and professional community will realize the importance of organizations like MINARA, Amal, Samnet, ASRI, OCAF, where we have central headquarters that encompass business promotion, skills development, research, media development and studies, development of the future political leadership, organizational oversight, business-to-business networking, and global networking. It would be great to have lawyers, accountants, business persons, entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, all under one roof, interacting, networking, planning, and becoming proactive. Okay, that's enough said. It is now my privilege and pleasure to introduce our guest speaker this evening. I think none of you haven't heard of Professor Salim Abdul Karim. He's got a long CV. I probably spend the whole night here if I'm going to go through his CV. But he really is a person that really needs no introduction. Safe to say that he's the director of CAPRISA, professor for global health at Columbia University, adjunct professor of medicine at Cornell University, New York, and is chair of UNAIDS, United Nations AIDS Scientific Expert Panel, and the WHO TB HIV Task Force. He's on many boards and has won many awards and accolades. I think he wins an accolade every month. I will probably be here till midnight, as I mentioned, if I have to read out his extensive CV. He's a medical doctor, has master's, PhD, DSc, and many other qualifications. He's an epidemiologist and a virologist. We have seen him extensive during the COVID pandemic, and of course, he was the chair of the Ministerial Advisory Committee on COVID-19. Professor Salim Karim.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a great pleasure and an honor for me to be here with you this evening. But you have to know that I'm here under a little bit of duress. And that duress stems from Solly. Because when he called me to invite me to speak here, you cannot say no to Solly. And Solly has been such a wonderful friend over many years. It's always an honor to be here at the MINARA Chamber of Commerce. So I prepared, in response to Solly and Fauzia's request, a talk on COVID-19. But I'm sure that, like me, you are fed up of COVID-19. And the last thing you want to hear this evening is somebody now tell you all about COVID-19 once again. So I have decided not to do my talk that I prepared, and that's on the slides that you see. So you can take down the slides. Instead, I'm going to use my time, given that this is an occasion to reward, to acknowledge, and to recognize excellence. I'm going to tell you a short story about excellence. It stems from 2003, when I was at my clinic out just beyond Howick in a place called Vullenledla. I have a research clinic there. We see about 1,000 patients a month there in our research clinic. And a young lady was at the clinic, and I was talking to her, and we enrolled her in one of our studies. Turned out that she was the 256th patient that we enrolled in our research. And so her code name is Caprisa 256. Now I'm telling you that because, remember it. It is going to come to you at some point in the future, probably in early 2025, when we get the results of the research that she is part of. This particular patient, Caprisa 256, was enrolled in our study when she was HIV negative. Unfortunately, she got infected. She got infected with the virus in 2005. We started seeing her, we put her on treatment when she qualified, and we've been following her, and to this day, she comes regularly to our clinic, and she is doing superbly well. When a person gets infected with HIV, as they do with any virus, they develop an antibody. Now, you're familiar with that. Antibodies are what we use to protect ourselves. And anyone who gets infected with HIV, automatically the body will produce an antibody. In HIV, the antibody against the virus is very specific. It will only kill the virus that caused the infection. It will not kill any other HIV. And HIV is in rapid evolution. So the HIV you get infected with, within a week, the virus has changed. You've seen that from COVID, how the virus changes from alpha to beta to delta, gamma and delta, Omicron. HIV is faster. It changes almost every 2 to 3 days. And so what happens is that the antibody that you have in your blood when you get infected, it can't kill the virus. It can't kill the virus that's in circulation because it only kills one virus, the one that infected you. In 2010, 2 groups in the US made an important discovery. And that discovery was that there are these rare individuals who make a very unusual antibody. And they called it broadly neutralizing antibodies. Suddenly we discovered that there were these special people who could make antibodies that killed a whole range of HIV. When we learned about that finding, one of the first things we did, we sent one of our students to the US to go and learn how to look for these patients. And we took thousands of our patients and we tested their blood to see if any of them had this very special antibody. And in that test that we did back in 2011, we took 400 HIV. We got the HIV from countries throughout the world. We had HIV, the virus from China. We had the virus from Australia, from all the countries in Africa, from Europe, from South America, from the US, from Canada. We had 400 different HIV. We added a small drop of her blood in each of the wells with these 400 different viruses. Caprisa 256, her blood kills 4 out of every 5 viruses. A special antibody. We noticed something unusual in her antibody, in that when we added very small quantities, she was killing large numbers of the virus. We knew something was very unusual about Caprisa 256. Now the problem is, we can't sit and bleed her all the time to get this antibody. So we have to solve that problem. So what do? We take a vial of her blood and we send a student of ours to the National Institute of Health's Vaccine Research Center in Washington, the USA. And we say to her, we want you to go and find the cell in her blood that makes this antibody. Now, I don't know how many of you remember high school biology. Now I'm going to take you back. You remember in blood, there's white cells, there's red cells, and there's platelets. Remember that from high school? Now, in your white cells, you have neutrophils, lymphocytes, basophils. You remember all? I'm really taxing you here. Well, it turns out that when you look at lymphocytes, there are 2 kinds of lymphocytes, T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. A B lymphocyte makes antibody. And when a B lymphocyte makes one particular antibody, it will only make that antibody. So because we have so many antibodies in our blood, we have thousands of different B cells making each of those antibodies. So essentially, the B cell that makes this antibody in her blood, it's probably around 1 in 10,000 B cells. So when we sent the student, we knew she had almost no chance of finding it. How do you find 1 in 10,000 cells? It's a needle in a haystack. But we thought it was a useful exercise. She should try it. We gave her a stipend for 3 months. Just before she was about to leave, I got the call. I found the cell, she said. 1 cell. Just 1 B cell that makes this particular antibody. That precious cell, we took it straight into our lab, we cloned it, we grew it in culture, and we were able to then make it produce the antibody. It took us 7 months to make 3 grams of antibody. You know what 3 grams looks like? You can't even see it. It's a little speck in your finger. We took those 3 grams of this antibody and we sent it in a vial to our friend Professor Dan Buruk at Harvard University. And we told Professor Buruk, please put it into the monkeys to see if it prevents infection. So he did that study for us. What he did was he did a blinded study. So he gave half the monkeys the actual Caprisa 256 antibody at different concentrations, and he gave the other half of the monkeys a placebo. And he doesn't know which monkey got the placebo, which monkey got the antibody. After he injects them, either with the fake or with the real antibody, he then challenges them with a monkey form of HIV. In doing that, all of the monkeys that got the placebo became infected, as you would expect. Every one of the monkeys that received Caprisa 256 never became infected. To this day, we have not been able to infect a monkey that has received Caprisa 256. Wow, we said, that's a great result. So we took that result, and Gracia and I flew to Bethesda to see Dr. Anthony Fauci, an old friend of ours. And we showed him this result, and we said, we need a partner, because we need to make this antibody to put it into humans to see if it can protect against HIV. He agreed, partnered with us, and put up the $20 million we needed to manufacture the first batches of this antibody. The vials were delivered to us in the midst of the COVID pandemic. We received them, we put them into humans, and we now are doing a study that will give us the answer as to whether this antibody works in humans to protect them against HIV. Essentially, if Caprisa 256 works in preventing HIV, it is a game changer. It means that we can provide those who are at highest risk, we can provide them with an injection once every 6 to 9 months, and that will then protect them from getting HIV. The whole idea is to move into the next step, which is to make a vaccine modeled on the antibody and to use the antibody to try and effect a cure. So we are a long way from all of that. We'll only know the results. We are doing the study right now. We have enrolled 820 women, high-risk young women, into the study. We will finally enroll just over 1,000, and we will observe them until 2025. And at that point, we will have some idea as to whether this antibody works. This is a story of hope. This is a story about what it takes to do high-quality scientific research and what it means to be a world leader in developing completely new technologies in the field of HIV. I say that because I get inspiration every day that I'm in South Africa. I see people who, despite everything to oppress them, steal from them, make their life difficult, and yet they rise. Yet they will come forward. I saw that same spirit when I watched the rugby last week. And I hope I'm going to see that same spirit in the rugby tomorrow night. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was most inspiring. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking us back to school. I remember those red blood corpuscles and white blood corpuscles quite clearly now. In fact, the 4 best years of my life was when I was in Standard 8. Okay, I've got to just recap my notes. We're now into, before I go there, thank you, Professor Karim, for honoring us this evening. I thought that it's important that I thank you right now before we go on to the next stages, and at least to say the extent to which we benefited by your esteemed presence. Thank you, sir. Now is the meatier part. We're going to be doing the intro to the MINARA Awards. I will now call upon the Deputy President of MINARA, Fawzia Pir, who will give you a very, very brief overview of the process that takes place in the nomination, selection, and the final judging of the winners of the MINARA Awards 2023. Fawzia Pir.
Thank you, MC. You heard him saying that I have to be very brief, you know. Should I be brief? Politicians, you can't trust them, you know. They love to speak when they are at the podium. Anyway, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guest, and of course our distinguished guest, Professor Salim Karim, MINARA board members, MINARA President Solly Suleiman, and fellow awardees, and all protocols observed. Welcome to the 12th Annual MINARA Recognition Awards. We gather here tonight to celebrate outstanding individuals and entities who have defied the odds, achieved remarkable milestones, and overcome countless challenges. In a world marked of unforeseen events, from pandemics to looting, riots, and global crises that ripple across industries and borders, these remarkable souls have persevered, not only in their personal and professional journeys, but also in their dedication to their communities, both in South Africa and on the international stage. Now, the MINARA Recognition Awards have always been about celebrating excellence and resilience, of course. Over the past 12 years, we have had the privilege of recognizing those who consistently rise above and demonstrate unwavering commitment to their goals and values. It is indeed a testament to the strength of the human spirit that so many of our finalists have selflessly given back, going far beyond the call of duty to serve and uplift others. Tonight, we gather in this room filled with the brightest stars of achievement. We remember that while there can only be one winner in each category, every single finalist is a beacon of inspiration. Each person and business entity we honor tonight has a unique story of triumph and perseverance. The individual accomplishments have illuminated the path of many others, and their dedication reminds us that even in the face of adversity, dreams can be realized and excellence can be achieved. So the selection process for our awards has been a rigorous one. And I want to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to our independent panel of judges. They have worked tirelessly and meticulously, of course, sifting through all the applications to ensure a process that is not only impartial, but of course fair, reflecting the true essence of the achievements of our finalists. Your dedication to maintaining the integrity of these awards is deeply appreciated. Now, as we commence this evening's festivities, let us remember that behind every award is a story of hard work, of sacrifice, and an unyielding spirit. So each honorary is a testament to the power of human potential, reminding us that in the face of life's most formidable challenges, we can rise above and emerge and stronger and more determined than ever. So let's come together in celebration of these remarkable individuals and entities, knowing that their journeys are not just a source of pride for them, but also a source of inspiration for all of us. The MINARA Recognition Award has always been a symbol of hope, resilience, and the unwavering spirit that resides within each of us. So thank you for being here tonight, and let the celebration begin. Congratulations to all our finalists, and may the night ahead be filled with joy and inspiration that your remarkable achievements have brought to us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Fawzia. That was an introduction to the awards recognition and the finalization of the nominations and eventually getting. Now, that's true. I think Solly mentioned earlier on, none of us, directors know anything about who has won, because it's the independent judges who will now be presented to announce the winners. I now call upon Mr. Naeem Azwat, who represents the panel of judges. If Naeem Azwat can come over and take over the stage. Where is he? Yeah? Thank you. He will tell us what's happening and give us the news.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I feel it a severe disadvantage trying to announce the winners, the finalists, after such eloquent speakers that we've had already this evening. And I'd just like to acknowledge the speakers again for their captivating speeches, for the information that they've shared. Professor, that is a very inspiring story, and I think it talks to resilience. And from a judging perspective, that was one of the criteria at what we looked at. And I'm not here to give the long speeches, but rather to announce the finalists and the winners. If I can ask MINARA Director Dawood Lokat to kindly come to the stage to present the award for the Community Builder of the Year. And the finalists in this category were Ahmed Osman, there's Imran Sidat, and Shanaz Parak. And the winner is Shanaz Parak. We move on to the Business Entity of the Year, the Startup category. I'd now like to call upon MINARA Director Nazreen Ibrahim and Isa Hassim to come to the stage. The Business Entity of the Year Startup category finalists are Quasar Environmental Consulting, Astronoc, and Superburger. And the winner for this evening is Astronoc. We move on to the next category, which is the professional Achiever of the Year. I'd now like to call upon MINARA Director Naeem Kadwa and Faisal Suleiman to the stage. For the Professional Achiever of the Year category, the finalists are Ashraf Gada, Shaukat Ali Mukaddam, and Shafinaz Hassam. The winner in this category is Shafinaz Hassam. We move on to the next category, which is the Business Entity of the Year, Medium. And I'd now like to call upon MINARA Director Aslam Ismail to present this award. For the Business Entity of the Year, Medium category, the finalists are Monate Dairy, Escape to the Cape, and Ahmad Al Qadi Private Hospital. And the winner this evening is Ahmad Al Qadi Private Hospital. We move on to the next category, which is the Business Entity of the Year, Large Business category. And I'd now like to call upon the MINARA President, Solih Suleiman, and also Director Asghar Mohammed to the stage. For the Business Entity of the Year, Large Business category, the finalists are BMW Supertech Group, Royal Travel, and Izulwini Construction. And the winner in this category is Izulwini Construction. We move on to the final category for this evening, for the recognition awards, which is the Businesswoman of the Year. I'd now like to call upon the MINARA Vice President, Fawzia Peer, and also Director Halima Kunate to the stage. For this category, the finalists are, for the Businesswoman of the Year finalist, are Sumaya Suleiman, also Amina Suleiman, and Shafika Ismail. And the winner for this category is Amina Suleiman. Just to record my appreciation to the MINARA board for allowing us this opportunity on behalf of my fellow panel members. It was a very robust discussion. It was a very robust judging process, and I can assure you, with all respects, or rather in all respects, it has been independent, as has been indicated by the MC earlier. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Oswald. That was most interesting. I had no idea, but heartiest of congratulations to those winners tonight. So in behalf of MINARA Chamber of Commerce, I extend our congratulations to each and every one of you. Well done. You deserve every bit of it, and all the accolades showered upon you. We wish you everything of the best for the future and all the success. And you know, they say that success is relative. And that's true, because the more successful you are, the more relatives you have. Not true? Huh? Okay. Now, as you are aware, ladies and gentlemen, this function is being broadcast live on Hilaal TV. And the people to thank for this, who made it possible, are Emergivac, that is Suleiman Sheikh, headed by Suleiman Sheikh, and the Islamic Relief Agency, headed by Yusuf Mohammadi. I would now like to ask them to say a few words, judging from the fact that we have a few minutes. I'm sure they'll be delighted to just address us for a few minutes. So I'll call upon Suleiman Sheikh first, and then Yusuf Mohammadi. Yeah? I thought so, yeah. That's right.
Enter the world of Emergivac, where serious emergencies receive seriously fast response. At the simple push of a button, Emergivac will activate fast, reliable private emergency services anywhere or anytime in South Africa. Emergivac is the first of its kind, tried and tested on-demand mobile application providing rapid intervention in the event of a medical, armed response, roadside or household emergency. Using smart technology combined with state-of-the-art GPS location services, Emergivac will pinpoint your location and dispatch the nearest ambulance or armed response vehicle to your location. In the event of a medical emergency, our first responders will assess, stabilize and evacuate you to the nearest private hospital. Trained case managers will alert the receiving hospital to your pending arrival and put up a hospital admission guarantee to cover ER, surgery, ICU and other related expenses. Emergivac requires no medicals, has no waiting periods, does not exclude pre-existing conditions and is not restricted to predefined network hospitals. EmergiGuard offers you rapid response to a security emergency anywhere or anytime at the push of a button. With EmergiGuard, it's like having your own armed bodyguard on call 24 hours a day. Roadside, home or large appliance emergency? Emergivac will dispatch the closest available service provider to your location. In the coming months, Emergivac will introduce AI-driven, contactless monitoring of your health, well-being and vitals directly from the palm of your hands. Emergivac Vital, powered by Suntro P, uses cutting-edge technology enabled via the camera on your phone to measure your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen levels, breathing rate, stress level indicators, and much more. Should you require medical service, you can seamlessly connect virtually with one of our doctors to diagnose, prescribe or refer you for further treatment. Emergivac Wellness will give you 24-hour access to a mental health and wellness line, offering advice and support to deal with depression, anxiety, suicide, panic, bipolar and post-traumatic stress disorders. Emergivac Mum and Baby, powered by PEDIQ, will offer a 24-hour maternity health advice line, 24-hour baby advice line, dedicated clinical care advisors, weekly stage-appropriate messages, online antenatal classes, and informative online content to assist mum with the health and well-being of their baby. Emergivac Cares demonstrates our commitment to playing our part as a responsible corporate citizen. Our association with Gift of the Givers allows our members to do their part in contributing to benefiting mankind. In addition, as a company, Emergivac will donate a portion of every contribution to Gift of the Givers. Emergibucks, our bespoke loyalty and rewards program, will bring you real-time discounts and vouchers from retailers, restaurants, travel and lifestyle partners. Emergivac is leveraging the rise of software-driven health technology, GPS location services and collaborating with leaders in digital medicine and artificial intelligence to bring you, your family and your employees peace of mind. All from the palm of your hands and at the touch of a button. Emergivac Sharia is the first fully Sharia-compliant family takaful and wellness product. Brought to you by the Activation Agency, a wholly owned subsidiary of Sheikh Investment Holdings. The Emergivac takaful benefits are underwritten by Clientele Life, a licensed financial services provider. Sharia supervisory services are provided by iConsult Africa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, honored guests. I'd like to express my gratitude to the organizers of this wonderful event, MINARA Chamber of Commerce. Shukran for allowing me the opportunity on behalf of Emergivac Sharia to be up here on stage. I trust that the corporate video you just watched was informative, it was engaging, and provided you with an all-encompassing perspective of what the Emergivac Sharia product actually is. It shows you that the journey Emergivac Sharia is undertaking in its transformation into a full-blown aggregator for all forms of emergency services, digital medicine, health, and wellness. Emergivac Sharia was launched a few weeks ago and can best be described as an emergency medical takaful and wellness product. It's the first of its kind product in South Africa, and it fills a massive gap between roughly 15% of South Africans who have access to private health care, but the large masses who either self-fund or rely on the state healthcare system. Launching Emergivac Sharia was an important milestone, not just for us as a company, but also for the broader Muslim community. It demonstrates that we are slowly but surely making progress in distinguishing ourselves and the financial services products we consume away from traditional mainstream non-compliant products that dominate the financial services and insurance industry. As captains of industry, business owners, employers of thousands of staff, including our helpers at home, we are morally obliged to ensure that our staff receive decent wage, have decent working conditions, and generally speaking, that we work with them to provide a better life for our employees, who we very often refer to as our greatest asset. Emergivac Sharia gives you that opportunity to provide a cost-effective emergency cover in the event of major medical or an accident situation. Emergivac is not a medical aid. It is a takaful product underwritten by Clientele Life and owned by Sheikh Investment Holdings. You may ask, why Clientele Life, a company that's synonymous with providing funeral cover? Clientele were the only company or insurer amongst many that I approached was willing to walk the journey with us to create a fully takaful Sharia-compliant product. Working with our Sharia advisors at iConsult Africa, headed by Dr. Ziad Mohammed, no stranger to KZN. He's the chairperson of our Sharia board. We spent 12 months in putting together a takaful structure within Clientele Life. And alhamdulillah, we've now launched the product. I again want to express my gratitude to the organizers for allowing Emergivac Sharia to use this platform to present our startup brand to such an illustrious audience. Our success as we take Emergivac to market won't be dependent on how many people we sign up. It will really be measured at the end of the day by the number of lives we touch, the number of lives we save, and the number of lives we change when there's a major medical or serious security situation. Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Sulaiman. Yusuf Mohammadi. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. It's Yusuf Mohammed, not Mohammedi. No problem. As I've been introduced, firstly, all protocols observed to the Master of Ceremonies, the Chairman of MINARA Chamber. We have some delegates from Pakistan as well, as I've been told. I actually wanted to say a few words here today, but Qari Sahib inspired me perhaps to just change what I wanted to speak about. When he mentioned ayah from the Quran, it reminded me of a son of the soil, someone from Durban, who really has had an amazing impact globally. The late Ahmed Didat. The ayah which Qari Sahib quoted was actually an ayah which I first heard him quote. So I'd just like to pay tribute to him. And it reminded me also of really, maybe just briefly, for those that haven't known of Islamic Relief. Islamic Relief is today the world's largest Muslim faith-based humanitarian organization in the world. We were speaking, or I heard one of the speakers before mention or speak of excellence. Alhamdulillah, Islamic Relief, one of our values and principles by which we do everything is excellence. Our founder, Dr. Hani al-Banna, I'm sure many of you have heard of him, constantly emphasizes this, that we are really the servants of the marginalized and vulnerable communities all over the world. Today, alhamdulillah, I'm standing before really a powerhouse of business people and individuals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has really entrusted with a huge responsibility. Huge. When Qari was speaking, I was reminded of an ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks of those who strive in His way, the mujahideen. Now we know what's happening in Palestine. I could mention to you some statistics and go over some numbers, but I would never want to reduce the lives of the people of Palestine to numbers. It would be a dishonor to them. Because indeed, the cause that they stand for, it is a fard kifaya on the entire ummah. Our brothers and sisters in Palestine are really fulfilling a responsibility on behalf of each and every one of us here. Islamic Relief has been fortunate and blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be delivering humanitarian aid in Gaza since, in fact, in the entire Palestine from 1997. And we've been there. When I say we're on the ground, I mean we are on the ground. We have an office that is registered in Gaza. We have 60 Palestinian staff that work every day, saving lives every day. And I would like to pay tribute to them as well. Because at the moment, while we are sitting here, I just received a message from Gaza right now. They say it's the most intense bombing in the last 20 days. It's happening right now while we are sitting here. Suppose that, it's difficult to stand here because some of the people that are now being subjected to the bombing, I know them personally. And I just like to remind everyone here that while alhamdulillah, we have been, as I said, it's a great blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made members of our community business people that do halal business. And Allah has put blessing in that business. And we never forget that the largest Muslim country today is actually Indonesia. And that was because of Muslim traders. So the Muslim business community is really a huge asset for not only the Muslim community, but indeed for the globe. And as I mentioned, today, right now, we have people who are sacrificing their lives for the ummah, for you and me. Really, they're representing us. They are standing in defense of the first qibla of the Muslims, the third holiest masjid in Islam. They are standing tonight, many of them, and from what we've heard, many have lost their lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them the highest stages of Jannah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also expects you and I, as He says in Surah Saf, يا أيها الذين آمنوا هل أدلكم على تجارة تنجيكم من عذاب أليم. Shall I lead you to a trade? Tijara. Yeah, we all trade, we do business. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invites us to a business deal, to a trade that will save us from, as He mentions, عذاب أليم. A great punishment. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then says, what is this trade? وَتُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. That you strive in the way of Allah with your wealth and with yourselves. So business people can also attain the status of a mujahid if you use your wealth in a manner that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has entrusted you with the responsibility to do. Yes, we all have, our hopes and our ambitions and our dreams. We've spoken about that, making dreams become a reality. But will we dream the same dreams of our brothers and sisters in Palestine? Will we sleep in the same beds that they sleep in? Many of them are sleeping now on bricks and stones and wherever they're able to find shelter. Will we wear the same clothes? This is the question we ask ourselves. If not, then what are we doing to change their condition? So I didn't mean to put the damper on this evening's procession, but I think it's important for me. I have a responsibility because I have, like I said, information that needs to be shared. And I encourage everyone here to use the platforms that you have, use the businesses that you have. I was so inspired just a few days ago. I met a businessman who said that he is now allocated his advertising spend to create awareness of what's happening in Palestine. He spent actually in some of the printed media, he's using that spend to create awareness and to change the narrative that is being spread by the Western mass media. So again, in conclusion, Jazakallah khair really to the MINARA Chamber for giving us this opportunity and for giving me an opportunity just to remind myself and all of us of our responsibility. Let us never forget that. Jazakumullah khair.
Thank you, Yusuf Muhammad. Jazakallah for that inspiring talk. I think we need this reminder very often. It's happening all the time, so being reminded is a blessing as well. Thank you and congratulations on all the work that you do. I think it's tremendous. And may Allah grant all you and your helpers everything of the best in this world and the hereafter. I was just informed that our Pakistan High Commissioner was not here. I was sort of like blinded. I thought he was. Sir, Mr. Altaf Hassan Khan, welcome to you. We acknowledge you here. We are almost at the end. Thank you. We're almost at the end. Just one item that we have is the vote of thanks. Before that, I would like to just touch on one or two little aspects, take a minute or two. Solly Sullivan spoke a little earlier in his address about youth involvement. And I will quickly sort of like went back to my days. I said, when was I involved in all? So I remember when I was 17 years of age, I was asked to take a tin and go and shake the tin in the corners of Grey Queen Victoria Street. I used to live in town, so we used to shake the tins, have the tins full, drop it off at the depot, and then Saturday afternoon was free. So that was 17. You can switch the 1-7 around today, and I'm still shaking that tin. I'm saying, please, we need assistance. We need a little bit of those pennies. We need youth involvement. I've lost my hair. I'm losing my eyesight. I'm losing my hearing. I've got one or two wrinkles on my face. And God forbid if I have one or two more, I'll probably look like crinkle cut chip. So please come forward, help the organization. It needs young blood. Okay, that was just a commercial on the side. Now we're back to business. I will call upon Nazreen to cast the vote of thanks. Nazreen? Thank you. Nazreen has just joined us a few months ago and doing excellent work. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I am Nazreen Ibrahim. I do have a longer association with the Chamber, but it is a pleasure to be here. See some new faces, but also some very familiar faces. Our partners, the silver partners, Standard Bank, thank you very much. We've worked with you for many years. I know the Chamber. It's always nice to have you on board. Our bronze partner, AMCA. Mr. Yusuf Mohammed, on that note, you said you didn't want to put a damper on the events, but you have thankfully given us a grim reality check of how fortunate we are to be able to experience this togetherness, but also a reminder of the responsibility that we have as business owners and as business leaders in order to do our best so that we use our wealth for the betterment. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Our guest speaker, Professor Salim Abdul Kareem, Director of CAPRISA. CAPRISA 256, am I correct? I won't forget that. It's a story to tell and one that has inspired us very much so. I work in AI ethics, so I think we need to have a conversation there around healthcare, health science, and the ethics of it. But perhaps next year you may enlighten us as a second. The independent panel of judges. I know it was not easy, and you had a lot of back and forth, and there was a lot to consider, considering that all our nominees were worthy candidates. But they made wonderful choices, and please greet and congratulate our winners after this dinner. Advertisers, corporates, and supporting organizations, we thank you for your ongoing support. Without you, our chamber won't have a role to play necessarily without the support also. And I want to thank our MINARA board of directors who work tirelessly to make sure that we are able to keep those relationships. Finalists and guests of 2023. Without you, well, there won't be any dinner. We'll just be standing here by ourselves. It's lovely to share this evening of wonderful energy with you. Even though we're in a time of turmoil and great, deep sadness, we must make dua that we are able to continue this work going year on year. And to our media partners, Hilaal TV, thank you for the live broadcast. Radio Islam, Salam Media, CII Radio, and Al Ansar, we are pleased to be able to work with you as we move along. Now, to tell you a little note, we have built the new MINARA Chamber of Commerce website. There is a facility for you to register your business and to pay online. So please take advantage of that and tell the other people in your community as well. There is one person that I have not thanked, and that is Amina Hanif. And you all know her as the administrator at MINARA Chamber of Commerce. I would think you would all agree, including our esteemed board of directors, that she has done an outstanding job of helping to put this together. So please give her a round of applause. Now, we have two little surprises for two very interesting and admirable gentlemen. They are sitting here. One of them is Prof. Salim Kareem. He needs to be respected and called to stage to be given a gift. And the other person is our president, Mr. Salih Suleiman. But he will be joining, he looks a little bit surprised, but don't be. He will join us on stage to do the presentation to Prof. Salim Kareem. I'd like to call Mr. Razak Juma to the stage. And then also, if we could have Mr. Salih Suleiman here, and Ms. Fozia Pir, if you could join us as well on stage just to do the presentation, please. Thank you so much. While they are joining us on the stage, please remember that if you want to access other value-adding services of the Chamber, that includes other interactions on the African continent, as well as a digital transformation workshop that is coming up, which includes the use of AI tools. We were fortunate as a Chamber to attend a 2-day digital transformation training in Mauritania, not a long time ago. That is coming up later this year, so look out for it. Now, please help me to welcome our guests to the stage.
I thought I'd just use the opportunity to just inform all of you that as a great token of my appreciation for the work done by the MINARA Chamber of Commerce, I'll be giving the Chamber a copy of my book. It's entitled Standing Up for Science, and I will be inscribing it just in recognition of the great work that they do. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have one more gift. All right. Yes. No. Yes, we have. I know we have. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is also for a very distinguished gentleman, director of MINARA, the Sali Suleiman, for the birthday and also for the great work that you do. Thank you. All right, yeah? We'll do that, yeah. Okay, he's just reminding me that we'll have a group photograph, but that will be after dinner. I don't want to hold your dinner up. The other thing is that I also must mention that when we leave, you're going to get your brochure, and then you get also a free ice cream that's given by Papa Chimney. So take that ice cream with you as a sweetener at the end. All the best. Enjoy your dinner.